Hello, this is Dimitri with Ugears US Kids LLC. Today we're going to be doing the assembly of antique box or antique box. Hello, this is Dimitri with Ugears US Kids LLC. Today we're going to be doing assembly of antique box, one of the fun models. I'm expecting it to be as fun as the treasure box that we've had before, and hopefully it is going to be as popular. Let's see. So just as always, let's start with opening up the model. That's a newer design, newer style box that now on all the models where it flips open rather than you slide it open. Inside the box we have some thicker rubber bands, some thin rubber bands, sandpaper, which is going to be useful, a piece of candle wax, gonna put that aside, then a few boards with an instructions manual. So let's see, and let's go as usual with the instructions manual. I'm gonna put the boards on the side. So they go 1, 2, 3, 4. Flip them upside down, and assembly instructions. So on the first page you see here it's a list of additional components or additional spare parts that are included with the model, so in case if you break anything, they're on there. It has a plus symbol and it points to the part. I guess it's a little newer than it was before. Before it was add plus. Now it's just a plus sign for the replacement parts or spare components, spare parts. And then the symbols, some of the symbols that we go in the manual. So if you see a little gear, candle wax, and a toothpick, that means you need to wax the portion. Exclamation point, exclamation mark means that you need to pay close attention in that particular point of the assembly. Sandpaper, that's where you need to sand off some parts. Then if you see the gears with the little errors, that mechanism should be smooth operating. And then obviously here we need to, if you see a little ruler, you need to check the size of it. We do have two different helping tools on here. So one is H1 and then one is H2. And one is on board number 1 on the left side here. That's H1. And then H2 is on board number 2. I'm gonna pull it out right away, and it's a bottom right, little right, right off the center line. So it's a H2 tool. So I'm gonna pull both of these to the side right now, and put the boards here. Now let's go ahead and start with the assembly. Before we do that, I want to mention, as always, that I can help you with the replacement components if you break any other ones besides the ones listed on that page number 2. If you purchase the model from us, the replacement is at no charge, and will ship from US warehouse. If you purchase the model elsewhere, I can request the spare parts for you from the manufacturer, but delivering into US takes usually about 3 to 4 weeks, or for extra $3.50, I can ship it from US warehouse. I'm not charging you for the parts, just for the shipping cost. All right, let's go ahead and start with the assembly. Page number 4, step number 1. Here to the top left, we need parts number 1, 2, and 2 3s. So 1 and 2 are located top left, and 2 3s are also in the same thing of the board number 1 in the same location. And then we need to wax a little on the side here. I'm gonna open the little wet candle. So we need to wax on the sides for part number 1 and 2. So they slide nice and easy. These part number 2 goes from the right side. part number 1 from the left. And then you push them together as much as you can. Until they're flush on both sides with each other. Alright, and now it needs to be symmetrical. And we need to push it as far as we can, so you use the tool or your fingers to push up against the table to make sure, well, first of all, they're going to be symmetrical, and then both parts are flush on both ends. So we're done with that. Step number 2 is we need part number 4, which is also on board number 1 at top right side, almost at the top, halfway between the middle and top. So pull these two out, and then we can use either sandpaper. I prefer to use a little precision file that I have. So you just sand these cylindrical surfaces. There's some connection points in there. You send them off to get nice and smooth surface, and then you put a little bit of a candle wax on those, right on the outside surface. And then those goes on both sides of the sub-assembly that we just did. One on the left, one on the right. And you push them as far as they can go. And then we wax a little teeth right here on part number 3. The gear teeth, because they can be engaging. And we're done with part number 8. Step number 3 is we need parts number 5 and 6. 2 6s, and they're in the top right corner. The 6s are, so we need 2 of those. And then number 5 parts are, a part is on the left. There's one additional and one normal, so whichever one you want to pull out, whichever one easier for you. So we just wax a little bit on the sides here. It does show a step on part number 5, but I don't see it. And then we need to, well, first of all, remove a little bit of burrs here from wood, little extra pieces. And you slide part number 6 almost all the way to the center of that part number 5. So there's no little step, it's just a flat part 5. And let's see, wax the gears, of course, and then parts number 7, they're in the bottom left of the board number 1. So we take both of those out, and then the B should face to the right. So I'm inserted from both. Both of the gears the B should face top and to the right. Once again, I'm removing the burrs with the tool cutter here, just like that. So, and then we lock it up both up with part number 8, which is in the top right corner, right next to the 6s. So here you can use the tool H1 to help you push the part number 8 out. We also need to sand and wax part number 8, and all you need to sand is just the connection point, so you don't need to go all around, but with the wax just go all around to get it on full surface. So, and then 8 will lock up all these gears. And we got a part number B, or part B. All right, let's move on to page number 5. Step number 1. We need parts number 9 and 10. They're still on board number 1. So part number 9 is going to be right at the center here, at the top, and then 10 is on the right hand side, right next to the edge, a little bit above the middle. So we pull these two out. We need to do a little bit of a wax on number 11. I'm sorry, number 9. And then actually on all the surfaces, and then put number 10, wax it up. Oh, speaking of which, we forgot to wax some of the gears on the previous assembly, so I'm just gonna grab it on assembly B and put a little bit of a wax on the gears, and then put a wax on a C, or 10, and then with the C facing up, and then with the longer and thicker portion going through the C, push it all the way to the little tabs here, so all the way onto the part number 9. Then we need 2 more of number 6, top right of the board number 1. Now these also little wax on the gears. And that gets inserted from both sides. To the part number 9. So there is a little bit of a space between the gear 10 and 2 6s. And then all that, we need 2 more, number 8. Same as before, a little bit of a sanding there, and application of wax on all around on the surface. We're on step number 8, page number 5, and let's see, light those up. Just like that. So that's our the sub-assembly C. Next step, number 9. We need parts number 11 and 12. So 11 is halfway between the middle and the bottom on the right hand side here, to the right of the center line. And then part number 12 is right at the center, almost at the center, closer to the top here. So same thing here. We just do a little bit of wax on the sides. Push the thicker portion as far as it can go, flush with that little tab. Then 2 8s on the outside. I just lost one, but I will get it back. So same thing, you just wax on the outside and a little sanding and waxing, and that would be our sub-assembly D. also put it on the side. And then step 11, parts number 15 and 16. So 16 is at the middle to the left of the center line. And then 15 is right at the top at the center. So here we do wax number 15 on the sides, and then push with the 16 with the hook facing away from you, E facing to the right. You push it with the longer side as far as it can go. So it's also kind of in the center. So that's our subassembly E. Moving on to the page number 6. Step number 12 would be parts number 13 and 6. So 6 is still at the top right corner. I had it fell out, and we'll need number 8s from here too. So I'm gonna use that, get those out right away, so I don't have to come back to it. It's a little further in the instructions. All right, so part number 13, which is going to be, where did I see it? It's on the left here, right below part number 3. So we do sanding on the sides. That's just for easier to reduce the friction, and we need gear number 6 inserted from the longer side as far as it can go to the little tabs. And then don't forget to wax the gear itself, which once again I think I didn't put anything on gear on gear D, as I see there's some burrs there too, but you can always apply at any point. And then so we got that 6 installed on 13. Then we need 2 number 14s. One is in the bottom left here, it has an F on it, and one is just below the middle, almost right at the center here. So these go from left and right, with F facing to the right and top. So both F's facing the same direction that way. And then jumping around here, wax the gears, obviously. It feels like I'm gonna use up the wax pretty quick. And then we need parts number 8, which we already took out, which were on the board number 1. Send them down. And put them on the sides. And that's our subassembly F. Moving on to the page 6, step number 15, part number 17, which is on board number 1, above the middle here. Large component. Then part number 18 is to the right, halfway between the middle and the bottom, to the right of the center line. And so here, with the longer piece sticking away from you, we need to wax that surface right here. Right around the holes. And then 18, bottom closest to you, insert it into assembly. So next step, we need step number 16. We need, let's see, the little key looking thing with gears facing away from you. We need subassembly B and C. You just need to look up which ones are B and C. B have, well, B on it, and then C is gonna have a C on it, of course. Makes total sense, right? And then they go into the, so A goes into the first hole. B goes into that second hole, and you need kind of have them inserted, so B would go first. I kind of insert them all together. C goes in the third hole with the gears engaging, and A goes into the first one. So they all kind of need to be engaged and at the same time inserted into those holes. You need to pay attention with that little diagram here of how B and A should interact. So the B should face kind of a little bit towards top and to the right, and A straight up with the gears engaging with each other. Which probably wouldn't matter much at this point of time, as they're supposed to be fairly symmetrical. All right, we got all these three in, and let's see. Next one is D and F. So D goes in first. Into the fourth hole, and F would be into the fifth hole. Once again, make sure the gears are engaged, and they will fit nice and perfect. The little mechanism. Moving on to the step, page number 7, step 18, and that little subassembly E goes into that last hole, with the E facing you and the little hook to the right. Now we need part number 17, which is well, right below the other 17. Just facing kind of same direction. We do need a little bit of ascending on inside, right around holes, and then a little bit of a wax too, although it doesn't show on there, but we did the same thing on the other side. And then we make sure all these number 8s fall right into the places, into the holes. Alright, so that piece on the bottom 18 snaps together, and then E moves easily. And now we need to make sure all the gears are moving nice and smooth. So just, let's see, well, we need to make sure that everything is inserted properly, just like this. And now without too much squeezing, because that way you're blocking the movement, you need to make sure all these gears move, mechanism moves back and forth. So let's see, just a little bit working in. So back and forth, and it should go forward as far as horizontal, just like this. Horizontal and vertical, so 90 degree, full 90 degree turn. If you feel a little bit of clicking or sticking somewhere, just work it back and forth until you get rid of it. So there's just a little burst, removing back and forth. So I'm just playing with it. The movement should be very easy, front and back. So, and full 90-degree turn. So 90 horizontal and vertical. All right, so we're done with that step. Now put it aside, and now we need step number 1 on the bottom here of page number 7, parts number 20, 19, and 19, two of each. So 20s are and 19s, they're all the way on the top right hand side here, 2 19s and 2 20s. Now let's see, with the 19 with the hole facing towards the top and away from you, we insert 20 with the tab facing you on the left hand side there into one, and then on the other one from the right side. So it's kind of mirror images. And then we need part number 21, which is right on the right hand side right here, board number 1. And then with these little turned facing towards the bottom, kind of like rounded off holes, we insert with the hole on the right hand side on the right from the back, and the other one on the opposite side, so making it a mirror, kind of like in the mirror image, just like this. Make sure they're fully inserted, and we put it on the side for now. Step number 3, we need part number 23, 22, and 24. So they're still we're still on the same page. 23 on the left side here on the top, board number 1. 24 right at the center. Uh, 22 would be on the bottom here, to the right a little bit. We'll need also 25. Let's see. 22 with the tab or slots facing up. 24 goes from the right hand side on the bottom hole. And then 23 goes on the left into the top hole. Then we wax on the sides here, just to make sure that we can insert number 25. 25 gets sanded and all around, and a little bit of a wax. And that goes over the this little sub-assembly that we just made, all the way as far as I can go. And now we need to make one more just like that. So we need parts number 22, bottom, 25, and 24. And same thing, 24 from one side into the bottom, 23s on the other side on the top, then we wax a little bit the sides, send down the part number 25, the connection points, and wax all around, and then goes over the little 22, 23, 24 sub-assembly all the way to the bottom. All right, then it's part number 26. That's a large part on the bottom left of board number 1. And then they go into 2 little holes, so that cutout facing you, 2 holes on the right and left of the side with a thinner portion in there. And then we insert the subassembly that we in step number 6 that we made in step number 6, with the holes facing up and that board facing away from you. We insert into these 2 little slots there. Let's see, pushing it through the slots. And aligning the little sub-assemblies there so you can squeeze it as far as it can go. Just like this. And then you need to make sure that both of these are rotating freely. These 22, 23, 24 sub-assembly 25, they're rotating freely in those holes. And then a little assembly that we made in the beginning that goes right in the center with the let's see, so this facing away from you, so that little hook goes also away. We need to, let's see, push it in, and that sub-assembly E needs to go into this little hole right here. So make sure you guide it correctly. It's like a little lock, and then you push all these in. As far as it can go. The hook is still, little hook in the E is in that slot, and it still works nice and easy. That we, same way as when we checked it. So now it's all good. We put it aside. Moving on to the page number 9. Step number 1, board number 2 now. Need parts number 28, 2 of them, and 27. 28 is a little to the left of the center line, closer to the tab here. Then 27 would be let's see, right below them, to the left a little bit. So 27, we wax the sides and put 28 into these 2 little slots. Make sure the 28s are facing the same direction. And snap them kind of together and symmetrical around the part number 27. Then we take part number 29 at that's a little bit halfway between middle and the top, to the right of the center line. We need to wax a little bit into that opening part number 28, so it's easier to slide in that part number 29, and then we wax the sticking out portion of number 27. So 29 goes flat into that slot. Just like that. Make sure it's all the way in. And then parts number 30, they're bottom left here. They go on the side of these little part number 27. And that sub-assembly with the key facing up are inserted into those 2 holes towards the front of the larger assembly that we just made. As far as they can go. Now we're at step number 5. We need a thin rubber band, loop it around, and making about 10 to 12 millimeters length of the loop. So the way to loop it is just wrap it around the finger, push it through the hole that you just created, and make a loop just like that. Not sure if you can see it or not. And then you measure off about 10 millimeters. So you bring the knot to that location, and then as you tie it, pulling it from one end to the other, just make sure you're same length that you created. And we're right about where we need it to be. So we are not cutting anything off. You tie it as much as you can. Now we pull that little sub-assembly 27, 28, 29, and 30 up. And then the, let's see, the little loop goes right over it into the slot that is closer to the base here. So there's a little cutout slot. And make sure the knot is on the outside there. And now we move H2. Moving on to the page number 10, we take a little H2 tool that we had, goes through the hole from the bottom on the right hand side. Let's see. So on the right hand side we grab the rubber band. Make sure you hook it. That little hook goes forward, and we push the rubber band through on one side, and then move it. So it needs to be kind of on both sides of that little loop here. So we need to wiggle it around a little bit to get the other side, part of the rubber band on the other side, so it kind of goes around that E key. Down on the bottom here. And then we pull it. As we pull the rubber band, the shorter end, we hook onto the E. There's a little hook on the bottom there. And lock it on there. So as we pull it, we cut off all the excess. So the knot is still there. And that concludes step number 6. So now when you pull on that thing, it just snaps right back. Alright, excess rubber band, no need anymore. Step number 1 on the bottom of the page number 10 are parts number 31A and B. They're in the top right corner here. So we'll do the B on the right side, A on the left, just like it's shown. And then parts number 32, they're on the left. There's 2 of them. Careful, because those are fragile pieces. And then those go 31B on the right side, the little hook towards the left. We need to slightly get the center. We'll start from the, let's see, bottom hole here. Kind of bend it carefully around and pushing it into the old hole, so there's a little nice bend there. And then same thing on 31A, so this the little cutouts facing towards you. And same thing here, bottom, center, kind of bending it over, and top. Just like that. And now they get inserted into our larger assembly there. There's those little slots over there. And let's see, the 31A and B need to fit in the slot holes here while that little lever is raised up. So there's kind of like 3 steps to the same thing. So I'm gonna start with the top and center, and then bottom, guiding into the hole. With that little hook up, push it in and slide it down. As far as it can go. Flat to the surface. So that little hook kind of sits on a little step that is on part number 31. And same thing on the other side. So I'm just gonna start from the top, then the center, and then guide it from the bottom for the bottom side, slide it in. And just make sure that everything snaps in the right place. The hook is still there. And we're done with step number 3 on page number 10. Moving on to the page number 11, step number 1, parts number 33A. Top right here. And 234s there at the top center of board number 2. Now with the, let's see, there's a longer and a shorter tabs on 33A. So the shorter is going to be on the right hand side with the little slots facing up. And we insert parts number 34 with a thicker tab going down. Just like this. And then step number 2, part number 36 on the left here, and 35 on the top left of the center line. So 36 can go with the little hook facing away from you and towards the top onto the back of that longer tab all the way in, and then 35 with a little marking toward facing you goes onto the parts number 34 towards 33. And then once again we need to make sure that it's all the way in. All right, now we got our G, and then we need part number 33B, which is right here to the left of the center line, little below the middle, and we do the same thing here, except the longer tab facing to the right now. So we need 2 parts number 34. step number 1 to the right there, top right. Now part number 36 on the right side now, and 35 from the front. Hook facing up and away from you, and then 35 with the markings towards you. Kind of get it under the angle. Alright, and that's going to be H. G and H. Put them on the side. Now we need to make another loop, so I'm going to come back to the rubber band that just put aside. And that loop needs to be 6 to 7 millimeters. So I'm just going to reuse the same rubber band as it is long enough. Create a little loop there. And we need to be like a really, really tiny loop. Then we need to make 2 of those. So here's one. Put it aside, and then we need to make another one. This is too short, so I'm going to grab another rubber band. And make another tiny loop. About 5-6 millimeters in size. Alrighty, so now these, we need part number 37. It is on still board number 2, and 37 is on the right hand side here. So we need both of them for the G and H. We wax on the inside of a little hook here. And now G, these little hooks facing you. We use the rubber bands. It gets hooked on the hook of part number 36, pulled out, and then 37 gets inserted with that little hook that we just towards assembly, and then locked with that little slot on one side and then on the other. And we're done with step number 2 on page number 11. Moving on to page number 12. Turn around the sub-assembly, and that gets inserted with the little tabs on these 2 little holes. So H on one side, and the other side. Just like that. And now we need to put these up, I guess. And 38A and 38B, which should be on board number 2 below the middle here. 38A on the left, 38B on the right. Wax little tabs right here, because they're going to be rotating, and that goes into the little part number 37, little loop there. One side and the other. And then we lock it into the little tabs there on both sides. So just make sure to line them up. And it's all locked up. On all the sides. And that little hook should lock it up, so when you press it, it opens up that compartment. Alright, same thing on the other side. Let's see if we can get it on. Alrighty, so they close and open. And let's see, just that little Alright, I see what's in the way there. So I'm gonna the little rubber band knot is in between, and it's actually preventing it from a good rotation, so I'm just going to get that knot out, and that should do the trick. So that should even everything out. And lock it in place. Alrighty. It's all good now. Page number 12, step number 1 on the left. Need part number 39, which is on board number 2, that's the large part in the middle. And then parts number 40, which are to the left of that. There's 2 of them. We wax the gears, of course. And then with that longer tab away from you, rounded portion goes also away from you. Insert the 2 right in the center slots there. Now we need parts number 41. They're on board number 3, top right. And parts number 42, bottom right side of the board number 2. So once again, when you push these out, just be careful because these are fragile. So, and you want to insert them into the ones from left and right. So we do start from the bottom and kind of slowly guiding them in, maybe lifting it up a little bit to get it on the right and one on the left. As you bend it, just lift it a little tiny bit and insert them into the corresponding slots into our sub-assembly, right and left. And then lock it up with 43, which is bottom right of board number 2. Bottom left, I apologize. And these go, lock it up on the outside. Just make sure you guide it so you don't break. Just like that. And then the other side, same thing. I started from the back, and then a little guidance, and then squeeze them together. Once again, just careful because they're pretty fragile. You don't want to break them off. And we're done with that portion. Page number 12. Moving on to the page number 13. And here 44B and 44A, which are on board number 3, top left. 44B goes on the left, 44A on the right. So there's little slots on the bottom and 2 on the left. Lock it up. Same here on the left hand side. And now parts number 45, which are on board number 2. Now right at the left of the center here and right of the center line, a little bit higher, we wax the little tabs so they're going to be easier to insert. And with a thicker portion on the side, we insert those into the 44, just like this. All the way in. And now we wax the sides, I guess, and top portion of the parts number 45. Just in case, I'll wax the bottom too. I'm not sure where the arrows are pointing exactly. Now step number 7, I'm gonna put that aside. Step number 7, we need parts number 54, which are on board number 3 to the right. Two large portions. Part number 46, which are still on board number 2. There are 2 of them, and the third just a extra piece. I'm gonna use the tool to push those out. And these go, so that little cross facing away from you, one goes from the left side and one goes from the right, and this hole, rectangular hole, just the one right above that slot there, and these should be horizontal. And same thing with the other one, just from the other side. You can wax them a little bit to slide them easier. And just like that, and we're done with page number 13. Moving on to the page number 14, step number 8. So that whole sub-assembly goes from the bottom where all the gears are at. Let's see. So it should be all the way against the little back here. All the way flat. And as we insert it, so while that all this portion, that key all the way up, and then we put the sub-assemblies with part number 54 and 46 on the right and left hand side while it's still upside down. This is vertical, or once again. And then the 46 should face towards the inside, and we slide these opposite direction. On right and left hand side. So that 46 goes into the slots here, and then we need to fit it into the openings, tabs. Just need to make sure that everything fits nice and perfect as we squeeze it onto the parts. one side, and then the other side. Just careful not to break anything. And they should fit all into the tabs as far as it can go on all the sides, locking kind of everything in place. Make sure there's no openings. All the sides are good. And let's see. We're done with that step number 8, right? Alrighty. Everything where it's supposed to be. And then parts number 51 and 53. They're both on board number 2, 52 and 53. Bottom to the left of the center line, and 53 is right at the center line. So 53 from the top. Now make it flat, and then put wax on all the sides. And that gets inserted from. All right, that's bothering me. That gets inserted with a shorter side into that rectangular hole. As far as it can go. And then part number 57, which is on board number 3 at the top here. Use the tool. Those go with the little step facing down. They go into the 2 holes here. Alright, then 58, 3 of them on board number 2. Or 3. Board number 3. I apologize, to the right. Go into the 3 holes at the top here with that thicker or fatter part towards the box. 1, 2, 3. No. 2 holes here and 1 on the bottom. That's why I was sliding in very easy. And then part number 55, which is on board number 3, you need to sand down that surface right here where without the gears. And then put a little bit of wax on the gears itself. And a little tab here. And that goes from the taller portion through the parts 57 that we inserted. Step number 4, with the gears facing down. Step number 4, we need part number 48 and 47. They're on board number 2. 48 is right at the center at the top here, and 47 is the gear right next to it. Now we need to wax the gear. Wax 48. So we can insert it in the gear. Now we're looking at the gear from the top. So the 2 dots are towards top left, and then 1 dot facing you. We insert 48 from the top with the longer portion going down, so it's horizontal. That would be R1. We'll put it on the side, and then step number 5, we need parts number 50, 51, and 49, which are 49's right here. 50 is bottom left here. There are 2 of them. And 51 is to the right of the center line. That would be our R2. Now here we need to wax all the gears, obviously. And then 51 faces down, the 2 dots closer to you. 50 we insert into the 51 with the longer portion sticking up, and then 49 goes from the top with the dot matching the dot here, the location, and then the little mark's going to be facing towards left. There. We insert it closer to 51. And that's going to be our R2. Now we need to match all these dots with our larger assembly. That's step number 6 on page number 15. So we're going to put it on the side. So there's 2 dots on the long portion. We take the little sub-assembly R1, insert it into the opening hole there. And our 1 dot should be in between the 2 dots on the longer piece, just like this. And then we match up the second sub-assembly R2, the 2 little dots, 1 on the bottom goes in between the 2 dots on the R1. And then we need part number 56, which is on board number 3 on the top left here. Whichever, doesn't matter which one you take. That goes over the pieces here, and this little mark should match the mark on R2, just like this. Now once all these are matching, oh, we do need to wax that little gears on here. once all these marks are matching as shown, do wax the little sticking out tabs because they're all going to be in the rotational. And easier to insert if you wax them. And then we put 59A, which is on board number 3 at the top here, right at the center. That goes over all these little tabs, locking everything in place. Careful, this is going to be a fragile part. And we need to put it on all the tabs. To lock it all up. Not too hard though. That locks it all that side together. And let's see. Now step number 8, we do need the thicker rubber band cut. And then we need approximate length of 45 millimeters. So that would be from 0 to 45 right here. For me, I got 10 millimeter marks here, so I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4 and 45. And then parts, step number 9 is 3 steps ABC. We need part number 60 and 61s, 2 of them, which are all on board number 3. So 60 is the bottom right, and 61s are right here. We need 2 of them, so we use our tool. They're right in the middle to the right. Alright, so now we take the rubber band, wrap it around longer pieces, and put one end into that hole in the middle, and then lock it with a 61. By inserting 61 into that hole. That's as far as it can go. We'll use the table as a helping tool. Now we wrap the rubber band all around. Make sure it overlaps the hole and from the other side. And we put the second 61 from the same side, locking rubber band in place as far as it can go. So now rubber band is locked on there, and that little piece goes on the bottom here. That's just a leg. With the rubber band facing down. Just like this. And let's see, so this little sub-assembly should move along with that little opening mechanism. Very easy back and forth. That's step number 10 that we're checking on page number 15. And then we're moving on to the page number 16. we don't have much left, so I guess continue as we go. Page 16, step 1, we need parts number 62 and 263s. They're both on board number 3. So 62, let's see, right here to the left, and 63 is within it. So just pull one block out, push the 63 out, the centerpiece. And both of these go side by side into that slot right here at the front, with the taller facing outward. Push it as far as they can go, flush with the surface, and make sure that goes from the side where the design is at, so it looks nice and pretty. Next step is part number 64, that's on board number 4. That's that big piece right here. That's the cover. And then 2 parts number 65, which are on board number 3. One is on the left here, right at the middle. Push it out. And one is to the right of the center line, a little halfway between middle and the top. So these two go on the side, so Ugears is facing up. That you see the sign. 65 goes on that little tab on the right and on the left. And then that sub-assembly 6263 goes right into this opening right here. So first we need to actually put that one in. That's the first step. Then part number 65, it goes over the tab and onto that little 6263 sub-assembly, and then on the other side, so it makes a little nice cover there. Just like this, and it should move up and down with the little 63 facing up, obviously. Alright, so next step is 3. We need part number 66, and that is located on board number 3 on the bottom here. Actually, that's and then the part, so careful because it's a delicate piece, and then part 68 is on inside there, so you need to push it out. And then 68's got these little tabs, you can remove them. That's the little exclamation point there, so we don't need those. So 68 is going to be on the side right now, and then part 66 got a little cutout here on one of the sides, so that cutout should face towards the back, towards the cutout right here of the cover. So just set it here, and then step number 4 is parts number 67 to lock it in place. So 67 are located right next to that part where the 66, 67, 68 were. So 1, 2 of them are there, and the third one is to the left and above. So, and those go with a little tab facing towards the inside. they go in the 3 holes. And we push them all the way in. So the 3 holes that are here. You push them as far as they can go. So they do double function. They lock this centerpiece in place, and at the same time they're gonna serve to lock that number 68. That's the next step, number 5. And then 68, that's step number 5. Once again, there's 3 holes, so I just line them up. Put it on top and put it aside for now. Step number 6, we need parts number let's see, 270s. They're all on board number 4, then 71A and 71B. So 270s are all the way in the bottom. Push them out. 71A on the left and 71B right above there on the right. And then we need parts number 69, total 8 of them, and all those are going to be on the left here, top left of board number 4. So I'm just going to use the tool to get those out. And all those, let's see, so they should face towards the center, just like this. Into that direction, kind of like towards the center parts. So the axis, like the larger axis, is going to be perpendicular to the long axis, going to be perpendicular to the long axis of the part where it gets inserted. And now all that goes into the little corners here. Locking everything in place. And make sure that everything is flat to the surfaces. Alright, and we're complete step number 7 on page 16. Moving on to the page number 17. That gets inserted into the box. Into this little opening here with that slot. And that would be our, okay, we need to open the bottom portion first. Pull that out. Make sure this is moves forward and back easy. So we pull it out, and then we need to insert the cover into the opening here, locking the tab in on the side and into the center piece. So we're gonna lock it onto the side first and then lock it onto the center piece, and it should go inside that little design, just like this. Now we need to push these bottom pieces in and pushing the cover down at the same time. Just help it out as much as you can on all the sides, because right now the assembly is not complete yet. So we need to be careful not to break anything. So we that completes the steps now on page number 17. And next is page number 18, step number 1. I'm going to put the box on the side for a second. And so we kind of go through the same steps as we did for left, or for one side. Now we're going on the opposite side. So parts 52 and 53, both of them on board number 2. And let's see where they at. 52, 53, they're right here at the center, just right above the bottom. 52 from the top, 53 from the bottom. And then make sure they're all nice and flat, the surfaces. Wax both sides. And then that goes to the little cross opening that's on the opposite side of the box. Should go as far as it can. Then we need 2 parts number 57, which are on board number 3. And one is right here at the center, almost at the bottom. And the second one is to the left of it at the edge. So those go into these 2 openings here, or with the step facing down. I'm gonna put a little bit on the wax on the tips there, on the tabs, because they go pretty hard inside, so hard to insert them. Then wax will reduce the friction, so it'll be a little bit easier. So once again, with the step facing down, one on the left side. It's much easier now with the wax. One on the left and one on the right. Step number 3, we need part number 55, which is right here on same board number 3, right at the center, just a little below the middle. And that we need to sand the top, and then wax the teeth and the top little piece here, and that goes in through these 2 parts number 57 that we just installed, facing down. And parts now, parts number 58, 3 of them, they're on board number 3 on the right hand side here. With that surface facing you, they go on the 3 holes, 2 holes on the right here and 1 hole on the bottom. So with the thicker portion towards the box. Just gotta get my finger in there to give me some leverage. Once again, they're a little hard to get in, so I'm gonna wax both sides of the tabs because I know there's gonna be another piece going on it from the previous side. Done. Next step, number 4, we need to create L1. That's part number 48 on board number 2. I would assume it'd be on board number 2. See right at the top here. Center line, a little above the middle, and then part number 47 is to the left of it. Now we wax the gears on 47, and then 48 we'll wax both sides. Now we need to have the one dot facing you, and then 48 we insert from the top, perpendicular in a horizontal, I mean the long axis is in a horizontal direction. Put it aside. Next one, step number 5, is parts number 50, 51, and 49. Part number 50, I just saw it right here. Bottom left. 51 is bottom at the bottom right. And then 49 is on the side of 47. Now we need to wax all the gears. And with this shorter piece inserting into 51 with the dots, let's see, so 2 dots, one facing you, one is a little bit to the left, so turn the gear the correct way. We insert it from the top. Those dots is just for you to match with the assembly at a later point of time. And then the little gear, the dot also should face you, and then the little mark will be to the right, about like 230 position or so. So you just press it in, make sure it sits nice and flat there. And step number 6, now we put these parts in place. So with the little L1, one dot should face top and fall in between the 2 dots on a little piece there. And then the subassembly L2, we get the mark should face to the left, and then the dot, there's 2 dots, so the dot that is on a gear should go in between the 2 dots on L1, just like that. And then next step, we need part number 56, the one that we already had out, and the mark, so we need to wax the gears on there, and the mark on here should match the mark on the on a gear L2. We put it over, let's see, just like that, over the little cross, onto the cross, and then marks match, and then we insert the tab into the cover. As far as it can go. Make sure everything matches. Nice and good. All the dots are matching the way it's supposed to, and then we'll put part number 59B over it. So 59B is located on board number 3, and it's to the left right here. It's a longer piece. That one goes over all the little tabs. All the gears. As far as it can go. Locking all these sub-assembly in place. Alrighty, so moving on to the page number 19. Here we need to create second, so we got 45 millimeters again. So we have the rubber band. I measure 45 millimeters. You can measure it with this piece. So 0.45 is right here, like right at the edge. I'm using my little table top here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 45, right about here. Once again, it doesn't have to be like perfectly exact, so if it's 44 or 46 should be fine too. And we need part number 60 and 61. So 60 on board number 3, bottom right, and then 2 61s are right at the middle there to the right of the center line. Push them out with the tool. Same thing as on the other side. We put the rubber band over the hole, not too far out, just to make sure it just kind of covers the hole, and then we insert part number 61. Then we wrap the rubber band around towards the other side, put it over the hole, and then insert 61 into the second hole, locking the rubber band in place. Just like that. And then that piece goes, step number 10 goes on that's opposite side from the other one that we inserted, right into the opening there, with 61 facing towards the top. So you want the rubber band to be on the bottom. That's kind of like a hole, kind of like your leg, to make sure it doesn't scratch the table. Now we need to make sure that the cover easily opens, so we need to work it in and out. So just work all the mechanisms. Back and forth. So you need some lubrication. Careful not to break anything. Right, something gets stuck here on the side for me, so I need to figure out what it is. to work it back and forth slightly. Now it goes, so once we work it in, it goes easy in and out. And the more you work these gears, the easier it's going to become. Wear out that little burr. Alrighty. Now next step is to create side boxes. We need page number 19, step number 1 on the bottom there. Part number 73A and 72A. They're both on board number 4. 73A is to the right here, halfway between center line and the side. And then 72A is going to be on board number 3, bottom left. Let's see, so 73A, design facing towards the left, hole closer to you, the tab on 72A facing you, and then we insert it into that slot, wax the side of 72A. Now 74A, that should be on the bottom left of board number 4. Let's see what the design facing you. We put it through that hole here, the tabs, and lock him up. Now we need part number 75A, which is also on board number 4 on the right hand side, right in the middle there. Wax these little sides here. And then that 75A is on the bottom, the sub-assembly that we just created. There's 2 little openings here, so that's where the tabs go. Cutouts, and then cutouts on the side. Make sure you squeeze it as far as they can go. You got a little kind of box looking thing here. Then step number 4, we need part number 77A, which is on board number 3, the middle here, with this design facing towards, let's see, outside. That's gonna go on the left here. Kind of slide it in and push it in. And 76A on board number 4, right at the center, to the right of the center, closer to the bottom here. And that goes to the last side. Just like this. That's our J box. Then moving on to the page number 20. And let's see, we create a we need step number 1 of parts number 73B and 72B. 73B is on the right here. bottom right of board number 4, and then 72B is on the bottom left of board number 3. Same scenario with the design facing, let's see, facing towards the inside, and insert 72B with the tab facing you, hole is closer to you, just like that. Wax the side of the 72B. Then we insert it into 74B, which is going to be on board number 4, bottom left. That goes from the front with the tabs facing down, and the 73, 72 subassembly goes on the right hand side from the back. Just like that. 75B on board number 4, that's step number 3. We wax that side corner here, just like on the other ones. And then with the corner to the left and closer to you, the subassembly 72, 73, 74 goes right into these holes right here, or slots, I should say, as far as they can go. Now 76B, 77. Let's see, 77B is on board number 1, bottom right. And we can get rid of this board. There's an additional part here, 5, which we already used and we don't need that spare. So I can throw it out. So 77B goes on, let's see, onto the right side, or with it, make sure the design is facing outwards. And then 76B is the last opening. It's on the board number 4, right at the center here. That goes on the last side. Just like that. Now we put them aside for now. That's going to be K. Going down, step number 1 on the bottom there of page 20. We need parts number 79, 2 of them, and 278. So it looks like they're on board number 3. So 179 right here at the center line below the middle. 78 is on the right. And then the second 79 is at the top, almost right here to the left of the center line. Now we need to wax the little tabs. Part number 78. And then we insert it into 79. So the smaller tab goes into the 79 on one side, and then for the other. And that goes on to the both K and L. So we have K and L. K is the one on the right, I guess. We turn them upside down, or K and J. Is it J or L? J. So our J is on the side here. Let's see. Neat. So that was our K. And J. Okay, step number 2, part number 80. Those are on bottom left of board number 3. So those 80s go into the holes right here on that side. And then the subassembly 78, 79. They go the 79 towards the inside. They go into these two little holes for on each box. Part number 21. Step number, we're done with step number 5 on page number, so we're moving on to the page number 21. Step number 5, we open up the box, and then we insert the K with that little triangle here onto this cross, and then J on the other side. And then step number 1 in that is that we need to fix that 79 part onto the little tab. Let's see, that is on right here on that longer rod. I don't remember the number of it, so that would be 1 is inserted on there. So it needs to be sitting, and then you put the box over. Let's see how we can accomplish this. So the little cross piece goes into that hole right here. So we need, I guess, to start it first. Let's put a little bit of wax on it. So we need that to make sure that part number 79 goes on that little tab of the long rod here with the 2 dots. Like that, and then we do the same thing on the other side. So we put that's where the J goes. We put a little bit of wax on that cross. Need to get it on and make sure that 79 goes on that little tab. Kind of have to hold it on in the air a little bit. I'm gonna put it on first, and then I'm gonna, let's see. Take it off, and so it's easier to put on second time, and then we get that tab or 79 onto the tab. Here we go, just like that. And which open up like that. We're done with step number 21. So moving on to the next step, we close the box. I'm not sure if you want to close the cover or if you want to push everything inside. Kind of closes up as we just push everything inside. And then we put parts number 81 and 81A and 81B on the sides there. So both of those are on board number 4 at the top right. So 81A is going to go on the left side, and then 81B goes on the right, with the design facing outwards, obviously, and with this little tab facing towards you. So there's like 2 little tabs on the sides there, so just push it on as far as it can go. And then we do the same thing on the opposite side with 81A. Can open up a little bit for the box. And then squeeze it on there so it's nice and tight on both sides. Just like this. And then 2 80s, they go into the holes here. Both of those are on board on number 3 on the bottom left, so we need 4 of those. There are 4 holes. And let's see, I'll put a little bit of wax on both sides so it's going to be easier to insert those components. And we put these parts into the holes at the front. Once we do that, we need parts number 82A and 82B. They're on board number 4 next to 81s. 82A is on the left and 82B is on the right. So those 82B with the round off piece goes towards the, like a little rounded piece towards right. We get it right into these parts 80. And one side and the other side. It's a little design. Just like that. And we're done with page number 22, moving on to the page number 23. And that's the lock. So we lock the box. We press here, right at the center. So it kind of pops up, open it up. And then as we open it, moving the parts out, give it a little help, especially in the beginning. Eventually it will work itself in. So as you push it out, it will open up. And now we just close it by pushing everything into the inside and lock it up from the center. Once again, press it on the inside, open it. As you're opening, especially in the beginning, kind of help it out a little bit by pushing the bottom pieces here. Once the wax wears in and all the burrs are removed, the motion will become smoother and smoother and smoother, so you only will open the cover, and as you open the cover, all the pieces will come into their respective places, just like this. And this is pretty much completes our assembly. So as I said, you play a little bit longer with it, and then it's gonna move smoother and smoother every single time. we're done with that assembly, and now you can use it for storage of any components, parts, jewelry, whatever you would like. There are some spare components, as I mentioned before, on the boards. You can find them in the places it says plus next to them, so they are lower different boards. But if you break some other components, you can always contact us for the replacement. If you purchase the model through our store, Ugears.us, or any of our affiliates, the stores that I sell to for resale, will replace the part at no charge. If you bought it elsewhere, we can request free replacement through the manufacturer, which takes about 3 to 4 weeks. Or for a small $3.50 shipping fee, I can ship the part from my US warehouse, which is located in Chicagoland area. So, and the delivery will take anywhere between 3 and 5 business days, depending on the first class mail that runs by our wonderful USPS. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them below or send me email at info@ugears.us. My website is www.ugears.us. And I'll see you guys soon with the next assembly. Thank you. Bye.